Hi, today I'm going to be doing the 5C homework with the MyLab tools part of my instruction for 5C. So I'm just going to do about 5 questions using this. Now, if you've watched the video already, you saw me do these by hand, but on the computer it's even better. First of all, we can click to enlarge graph here, and I have my two equations right here. Now, f of x and g of x, that's just a fancy way of writing y equals. So if I look at x plus 2, that means my y-intercept is 2. So again, I got to click on the graphing tool. I go over to here, click on 2, and then my slope is, there's just an x there, but remember that's 1 over 1. So I want to hit the up arrow once and the right arrow once, and then hit enter. There's my first graph. My second graph, I got to click on the line tool again, but this time I got to go up to where y equals 7, because that's my y-intercept. Now my slope is just -4, but remember it's -4 over 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, the right once, hit enter. And you can see my intersection here is 1, my x is 1, y is 3. So I click save, I check, good job. Now I have to label the intersection. The solution here is 1, 3, close parenthesis, check. Okay. This one, consistent and inconsistent. Well, inconsistent, I should see two parallel lines. These are definitely not two parallel lines, so it's got to be consistent. Okay. Independent or dependent. If they're dependent lines, you'll see one line right over the other one. So you won't see two individual lines, you'll just see one line on top of the other. So I definitely see two lines, so they are independent of each other. And there's my question on how to do this. Again, when they're y equals format, it's very simple because I have the slope and I have the intercept set up. And I'm going to do this one as well. And I can click on this to enlarge, or I can click on this to enlarge. Both of them do the same thing. So my first one is plus 6. So I'm going to go up here, go to where my y-intercept is 6, click, and now it's -1, 6. Now I always put the negative on top, so I go down 1 and then over 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hit enter. And this graph is so tiny, I have a hard time with the mouse. So now this next one here is, all right, -2 is my y-intercept. So I go down here, there's 0, -2. And I want to go up 7 over 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I hit enter. My goodness. I'm trying to see what that looks like. That looks like x is 6 and y is 5. See if I check my answer. Hooray, I got it correct. My intercept again is 6, 5 that I just looked at. 6, 5, close parentheses. Check. Excellent. And again, do I see two parallel lines here? No, I do not. So it's not inconsistent, so it must be consistent. And if you notice, they flip-flopped where the inconsistent and consistent was. They love switching that around. Independent, dependent. Well, dependent is where I see one line on top of the other. I definitely see two separate ones, so they are definitely independent of each other. Okay, and that's just a quick lesson on how to graph the two lines on the one graph paper. And the computer makes it tremendous. So we're going to skip to where I'm going to do some graphing of the inequalities. This is where we had to do the shading. So again, I have to know my graphing things here, and this is a good one to start off because this is just greater than 6x. It doesn't have a y-intercept. Remember, if nothing's there, you just write plus 0, so my y-intercept is 0. So my slope is 6, that means I got to go up 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I go over 1 because it's 6 over 1. I hit enter. Now, since this is just greater than, I got to change this to a dashed line. So when I click on this, now you can see it's a dashed line. If I want to do shading, it says region shading tool, so I click on the little bucket here. Now greater than means I'm on top. So if I imagine this is the roof of my house, this is the top of my roof to the left and underneath is to the right. So I click on that, draws a perfectly shaded top, save, check, I move on. Y is less than x plus 2. So my y-intercept would be positive 2. So I go to where 2 is, click there, Again, my slope is x, so that's positive 1, so I go up 1 over 1, hit enter. And again, this is just less than, so I got to click on the dash line because I got to make it dashed. And since it's less than, that means I got a shade underneath. Again, if this is my roof, this is above the roof, this is below the roof. I want to be under the roof. Save, check, and we're good to go. Now, I have one big issue coming up. And now first, 25, 26. Now you notice this is less than or equals to number 26. That'll be a solid line. Because remember, less than or equal to greater, that will be solid. Then I'm going to do the one thing where my roof thing fails miserably, and this is why you'll never find it in any book. X is less than negative 3. Now if I graph this, I have to go where x is negative 3, and I click. And remember, it's a vertical line, so I just have to go up. Doesn't matter how many things or whatever, I do it. And there's my vertical line at negative 3. Now it's less than, so it's got to be dashed. Now, there's no above or below, is there? This is a vertical line, so I cannot do that. But if you think x is less than negative 3, where do x values get smaller? Well, they get smaller to the left. I click, I save, I check, and I'm good to go. But this graph right here is why my rule, you'll never find it in any book whatsoever, because it fails miserably on this one example. Alrighty, and I'll do one last one here. Y is greater than negative 4. This will work. So I got to go down where negative 4. Again, remember, this is a horizontal line with 0 slope. Oops, forgot to click enter. Again, it's a dashed line. Now again, what's above or below? Well, clearly this is that's above. Save, check, and we're good to go. And that's my quick lesson on how to use the graphing tool. Hope this helps, and good luck. As always, email questions.